Cody cuts a promo. Came out with Arn Anderson, big boos, and I'm not talking Orange is the New Black. I
haven't thought about Big Boo in a minute.
So Cody says, whether you believe it or not, I hear you. He's wearing all black. He said he hit the Tiger Driver 98 on Malachi Black before a brief moment he thought about hitting a different move, alluding to the pedigree. He didn't do that because that's too easy. He asked the fans, he said it's easy to acknowledge who, built the bank or something. What did he say?
I don't remember this promo.
He essentially said, don't forget the person who built this place. And I was like, all right.
I think he said one of the people, I don't know if he said he's the only one though.
He started tossing his shoes in the crowd, which apparently he was wearing not Heat. From what people I was speaking with. So nobody wants those dusty ass shits. But Cody said he debuted at 20. He said his wife is too hot for him and his brother is better than him. This gets big cheers. And he said he'll never leave behind the cultural legacy of his father, Dusty. And he said, I will not turn because I love you guys very much. And he turned to Arn Anderson and said it was an honor to stand in the ring with him before shaking his hand. And I thought this was half a good promo, and then the other half was like Cody trying to be too smart and fight through some shit that don't need to be fought through. Like,
okay, so the good of the promo, him as a babyface saying gracious things, talking about his relationship with the crowd, and Cody has always been big on letting other people in his life tell or be parts of his story, right? Like whether it's Dustin, the Nightmare Family, Arn, Brandy. That was a big part of why he was over like he was going into that feud with Jericho at Full Gear 2019. And they end up breaking Dustin's arm in part of the story. So like when he talks about Arn and Brandy and Dustin, like that ties in perfectly with the good babyface stuff we've seen from over the years in AEW. The part for me that I just like I'm not in on this is him alluding to the pedigree and Triple H and like him at trying to be real with us while telling us about how he almost decided to do the move of a guy that politic backstage to be like the fill in the work, the fill in the character work of what he's trying to get accomplished. And I'm thinking like, bro, why? Like, leave Triple H alone, leave the pedigree alone. Not because like leave WWE alone. Not saying that, but it's like that's just lazy. Like, stay away from that. Like,
ironically, he said it was lazy, but yeah.
But bringing it up is what was that in service of?
It was like, oh, by the way,
right?
Like, I was gonna,
like,
do
I
this,
could, I could take the easy way out and back in politics with my EVP level, like that Triple H guy, and do his move and all that kind of shit, And it's like, it's just lazy. Like. Triple H doesn't have competition with you. He doesn't have a weird thing with you. You have a weird thing with him, like the throne breaker thing and all that kind of stuff. Like, whatever, man. Like, I don't know what your thing is with Triple H, but it's been the part of this meta stuff that you throw into what's happening at AEW, and it's like, hey, bro, like whatever thing you're doing here, cool, I guess, but like, what the fuck does that have to do with like the fans booing the shit out of you and like Malachi Black and like that fuckery that happened at the end of the match? Whatever. Like, I just the other like there's good and bad with it. So it's like, yeah, like he's mentioned, he cut half a good promo. The other stuff is more or less like, imagine if you're just watching AEW. Imagine if you're like younger than Cody and like you just watching AEW and you don't know any of this stuff. Like, I understand, like, most of this is, like, you're playing to the hardcore fans that are in audience in AEW that makes up a great deal of their fan base, but, like, not everybody is going to be in tune to, like, to give a fuck or know that this is a Triple H thing, and like why and how that relates to you exactly. Like, like that's what I mean by lazy. Is like you got to take a lot of leaps to get where he's going for it in an AEW ring while he's cutting his promo. Is like this. If you want to cut that promo in WWE, okay, right, but like that's the other promotion. So, and also like Uncle Paul's been trying to be Uncle Paul for like the last 12 years, not 12 years, 10 years, 8 years, whatever. Like a lot of people's relationship with Triple H is not the same as it was like during the Reign of Terror. It's still there, but a lot of people don't even recognize what that was when he was out here like putting WCW in the fucking bin for years. So for me,
well, think about it from Cody's perspective, right? Like
I'm a Mark that grew up on the 90s wrestling.
No, like Dusty's his dad, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing about they always used to call
was Dusty cutting promos on about Luthez? I don't recall. I seem to remember him just looking in the camera and giving his fucking heart, like you know what I'm saying? No. Like I'm like, bro, I don't. What is this other shit that I need to like go on Google for? Like if I
can't believe I'm about to defend Cody.
Go for it.
So like the relationship with Dusty, and they used to call these NXT people Dusty's kids, but they had Dusty's actual kids, and they didn't give a fuck about them, right? And then the way that people actually developed in NXT, all the people that have gone on to actually like do shit, that their gimmicks and their confidence in themselves and their abilities, that shit came from Dusty. And while Triple H, goes out front as, the face of the brand in NXT and all that, like, you got to imagine Cody's looking at it like, no, man, this is Dusty. This is Dusty's work. But obviously Dusty's not going to be in front like that. But I think there's just a lot of deep-seated stuff with those guys.
So the deep-seated stuff so now we're going further into the metaverse. So now I'm supposed to feel for Cody because during a collaborative effort between Triple H and Dusty and William Regal and whoever the fuck else, right? Some people were successful. Triple H puts over everybody involved in that project. Cody doesn't feel that Dusty gets enough credit. Therefore, he has to throw shots at Triple H, who has been nothing but deferential to Dusty for the whole entire NXT run because he feels like his dad didn't get enough love. What does Triple H have to do with that? He didn't bury his, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's now being played out on AEW. Thanks for taking us further down the metaverse. That's fun. Like, I don't feel like I should have to do this to watch a TV show. Or I have to go through this. Like, if you didn't know this stuff, like, like we can all talk about this stuff, whatever else. If you're just watching the show, you're like, what the fuck is this? Who is he talking about? What movie was he talking about before? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, AEW Light is like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And if you care to go through all that stuff, it's like, you have to have a basic understanding of North American pro wrestling over the last 20 years to get what all this is. And it's like, why are you giving people homework?
Wrestling's not this new thing.
It's not. So, but the thing is, you gotta keep in mind, their demo, like, not everybody, there's a lot of teenagers, there's a lot of people in their 25 that watch this stuff. Not every 25-year-old knows about the politics of or the dirt sheet stuff or whatever else. Like, for example, like, I just find it all needless and it doesn't serve purpose towards the story he's going towards. So it's like, you could have just 86 all of that, but I have to hear it. So thanks.
Part I didn't like was when he was talking about the I won't turn stuff.
That's also another thing. It's like, I'm just never going to turn heel. It's like, bro, like, you don't.
I'm like, why are you? I was going to say, like, why are you saying what
even
a turn is?
Even if you are, why would you say that?
Like, he could have said something like, I'm not going to turn my back on you guys. He could have said something like that, but like, he's just, I won't turn, and it's like.
But that's more meta stuff. I'm not going to turn in. Also, he means both things. I'm not going to turn heel, and I'm also not going to betray my relationship with you, right? Like. It's two things. It's metaverse stuff, bro.
It is a John Cena, Roman Reigns problem. And it's only going to get worse and uglier as they try to just shoehorn him into these situations for these temporary pops, like what happened afterwards when Andrade comes out, running them down, and Pac comes out to save them, and they're happy about Pac being there, just like they were happy about Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose being around Roman Reigns for these fake pops, and it's just going to suck. And that's just one thing I don't think people want to deal with, like, or shouldn't have had to deal with it, because he wants to go against the grain. Like, he wants to create this tension or whatever that's around him. And it's fake. It's forced. It's like, we're going to be living in this situation where it's like, they keep putting this guy out there as this good guy. Right. And we want him to get the fuck off our TV most times because he's exhausting, because he's run through all those angles, because he can't do 3 matches out of 10 without bleeding. Like, he's
yeah.
Like, it's just way too much. And I'm just like, why? I feel like the con of pro wrestling, right, is that like, it's not real. And then, like, you're exposing the part, like the real part, in front of us and saying you're not going to do it. Everyone's agreed to play along, right? It'd be like, but you're deciding that doesn't exist anymore.
Everybody that's watching television knows that the drama that they're watching is not real. They just want to be told a story. But Cody is forcing everybody to acknowledge that, like, acknowledge that what you're watching is fake in like, literally, like, thought up by, like, a number of people during a meeting, during a writer's pitch or whatever else. It's like, we already know that. Like, we're trying to, like, get lost in the story, not be reminded of what's going on. Like, that's what the commercial's for, to remind us that, like, this isn't a real thing. Like, stop. And, like, the further he keeps going into this, like, the worse it's going to be. And, like, he was not doing this 6 months ago. He was, like, the closest he ever got was, like, you know, breaking the throne or whatever else, really. And, you know, he also had the promo where he talked about how, you know, him and CM Punk the pipe bomb is more, you know, relevant than any of the past promos, and take the guys out back and shoot them or whatever else. Stop worrying about yesteryear. And, like, to an extent, in regards to relating it to his brother, saying he's going to take out the old guard, like, that works perfectly fine. But then you get to a moment like here where, like, it doesn't actually tie into what the story is with Malachi Black, and, for example, it's kind of like, or, you know, also Andrade, and it's kind of like, bruh, save that for next time you're actually really going to need to use it. I guess
those dudes are just like, they're surrounding him. Like, it could be anybody.
Yeah. He's on his own thing, and, like, this is like the opponent he's happens to be wrestling right now, and it's like, it's just not a good feeling right now around him watching his stuff. It's just not. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like, it's lacking in thought, because I think the thing is it has too much fucking thought going into it. Like, it feels like he's a dude that's out here, like, triple pump faking. like he clearly is one of those guys that goes into the wrestling sphere and reads what people were thinking about stuff, and now he's overthinking his instincts and questioning things. Like, that's what it smells like to me. I could be very well be wrong, but, like, I'm speculating. But when the shit was going hot, he was not doing this to the extent. And this one was just kind of like, yo,
take the layup, Cody. Take the layup. It's being handed to you on a platter, and you're settling for long twos that are contested.
But Rich,
right
he
now.
Literally is telling you that, like, nah, that's the easy way. I'm not gonna go Triple H route. Yeah, and, you know, then he mentioned, like, the title thing or whatever else in this thing. Jerry was like, you fool.
Yeah, I'll break my covenant.
And I was like, bro, like, that was your get out of jail free card if ever this babyface thing you went south and you needed to revamp. Like, you say, yeah, remember that thing I did? Fuck that. I'm turning heel. I'm undoing it or whatever else. And then people be pissed with him. He can have his run with the title. He can go away. And then maybe 2-3 years from now, he can redeem himself and all that stuff, what he did. And people be, you know, whatever else. Like that. Now he's like just flaunting your fucking face. It's like,
it's
bro,
me. he's like, it's me.
You're
flaws
telling
and
me
all.
this. You're
That's what he's
like
saying.
you're
Flaws and all.
waving it in my face and like this fake thing that I'm watching is fake, and it's like, bruh, like what? Why am I watching then? I know it's fake. Why the fuck are you reminding me?
Yeah, man, it's like another exhausting week in the world of Cody.
Yeah.